very good in making a decision. Your son is very good in keeping a crowd of friends together or working with a team. Right? So, or as a person, you will say, yes, when there's a problem, I'm very good at resolving that between two people. What is that? Conflict resolution. But as a person, at that age, we also don't know that because we don't really sit down and think about these things. So this is something you need to do. It's called psychometric tests, which is available. There are free versions on the net as well, but sometimes you get paid versions which is not that expensive, which you can actually do. But make sure you go through the reviews before you do that. Identify who you are. Why? Because I will show you one such example. This is called High Metrics, an organization called High Metrics. They do gamification. So it's all games. There are 12 games that you have to do when you pay that, right? And if you see this particular balloon game, they will say that your decision making and risk taking characteristics are then identified. If you're good in your risk taking, that's given. If you're good in your decision making, they will say you're really good or you're not so good on average. For example, hard to easy task game, if you choose your task, they will say your effort, decision making, motivation, skills are very, very good, your characteristics. Right? So you know then you are a very highly motivated person. Why do I say this? Because different organizations have different cultures. If you're not a person if you're a person who's easily demotivated, you can't go into a large market-driven all the time, go-to-market kind of place like dialogue. Because no one's going to sit down and give you a motivation. You have to find out motivation and you, right? So you may not be happy doing it. You might be better off in a small organization where people are all like a family and they praise you and they work together with you and things like that. But that doesn't mean you can't get into a place like dialogue. Because if you are getting into a place like dialogue, you know, okay, these are my characteristics that I need to work on. Then you take courses, you talk to people, you do even with HR, you can say put me into a place where I learn how to make better decisions or how to keep myself motivated. So you do that and you strengthen your weakness that this particular thing has identified. One other thing is some organizations have heard, I don't know whether it happens in Sri Lanka, but it does happen globally. When it comes to promotions, when it comes to even getting into another section of the work, they do these kind of tests from HR. So if that happens to you, don't panic. Just answer. They are not trying to fire you. They are trying to find what you're good at because you are given extra responsibility. They want to know if you can handle it. Right? That doesn't mean that you actually Google or ChatGPT and then get through this in acing the colors. You need to identify who you are. So try and do these tests. It's available online, which is good for you. So this is something you can do before you apply. Then of course we talk about job postings. In Sri Lanka, we don't have very sophisticated AI models or tools which gives you jobs, right? But in this is actually US based. It's called Sonara. So if you see, in the future we might have that. We have quite a lot of startups coming through. So they actually take your resume, they source whatever like top jobs areas like that, which is where they have the job listings, and they push you the jobs. And then you can apply it easily. And then they have a tracking system. So have they filled that vacancy? So have you been shortlisted? If you're shortlisted, then all that comes through. So it's like on your phone, you can check those things, right? So probably in the future we will have something here. But we do have something right now, which is LinkedIn. How many of you all have heard of LinkedIn? How many of you all have an account? Good, right? Just talking about how you can apply for a job, right? So LinkedIn profile, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Good, very good. So your LinkedIn profile will also do the same job. If you have kept it updated, it will push jobs based on your skills to you. So you can have an easy apply, it's very easy, you can just apply off the LinkedIn itself. So that's something that we have at the moment to find jobs using AI. Then of course comes the application process. Now, thanks to AI and things like Grammarly, you won't have this, right? Yes, those days when we used to put this and used to put two thesaurus and someone decides to, in that technology, change the curriculum We take to curriculum vitamin, right? Now, but that would not happen to you guys. You're lucky because there are things like tools like Grammarly which will actually check for it before you send it out. So use those tools, which is very, very important. So then you do apply for it, and then this is something you talk about resumes. You're applying your resume, right? So this is of Forbes, the top 5 in July 2024. These are the 4 things that they looked at to help you to test against the ATS software. What is ATS software? Does anybody know it? It's called Application Tracking Mechanism System. I am yet to identify. We have in our top corporates different sorts of software they use to screen your resumes. Because you must understand, when a corporate advertises for one job vacancies, there's a lot that comes in. About 10, 20, maybe even more, right? No one is going to sit like those days, going through one by one, checking it, and your picture is like you're holding a tree or something, people throw it, right? So they don't do that anymore. Now what they do is they have their own tools that they have come up with where they feed the resumes. That will simplify it and give you out of the 50, they will give you about 10, which is appropriate for the job that they have advertised. So this is also that application tracking system software is that. So globally, if you're applying for an overseas job, it's very easy. They just get it. Most of them is now, you know, that is digital apply. They immediately put it through the ATS. ATS filters it and gives you the easy number. They can define a number, so they give you a number. So if you want 5, they give you the top 5. That's it. Now the problem is, if you go to do resumes on your own and you do the content of your resumes, this will reject it. Why? Because it's based on the job listing. It picks words from the job listing. And if you haven't used those words in your resume, the chances are you will get eradicated from that list. So that's why they say use these tools, one of these tools. These tools actually look at your resume on a Microsoft Word or whatever, and they change it. Change it to get selected through the ATS, which is very, very, very important. So I actually did a small check. I don't know whether you all can see this. This is my resume. So in Resume Maker AI, which is the cheaper version, much more cheaper and affordable, I put my CV. I put the word on that, and that's the template I got. So see, it's beautiful. You don't have to think of the template, you don't have to copy templates, you don't have to download templates. It's automatically 2 seconds it generates that. This one, which is Enhanced CV, which is a bit of a higher paid version, maybe not through the roof, but I mean a little bit more expensive. This actually looks at ATS. So it's worth you investing in this when you're doing your resume. This one I actually said, go through my LinkedIn and build my resume. And they did that. I gave the LinkedIn link and they immediately gave me my resume. So it's very, very easy, right? So now if you have a job listing, you can put your job that you're applying for. You can put your LinkedIn profile and say, this is my job. Make my resume. Because each job, your skills might change. Your experience will have to be tweaked. Not every single job is going to be the same. So you need to then, while you're sitting and thinking, you get this on that, right? So Enhanced CV is one option. They also do cover notes. So cover letters are done by them. So that's an additional thing. Otherwise your resume will be one thing and your CV, the cover letter will be something. It won't reflect the same. This is what Enhanced CV looks like. So they ask you, do you have an existing resume? And then you say no, then they will say, okay, can you put on the link? If you say yes, you can upload in Microsoft Word as well. Right? So that's possible. Even a PDF, I think you can. Right? But I actually took that option because I want to see how it works on a LinkedIn page. So that's what you do. Right? So now your CV is ready, ATS ready. So most likely you will get filtered into all the systems that we have. And then now you need to build your personal profile. Why? Because the moment you apply an ATS gives your resume, what do I do as an HR manager? Sorry? No, I don't call you for interviews. You know what I do? I look at you on your socials. Right? I start Googling you. I check everything that's on the internet. Yes, you might have your Instagram, which is a private profile, your Facebook. I think your young ones are a little too old. They are of course okay with Facebook. They will check you. And you know what? You will say no, but my profile is all, private. Yeah? Your friend and her friend knows me. I call that friend and say, hey, by the way, I just check this girl. There's a mutual friend of us. I don't know her. Can you talk to her and get me snapshots of your profile? And there you're seeing, partying and tripping. Every weekend you're out and people are like, here, this girl is not going to last, right? Because she's always tripping, right? So that's the profile. So be careful of who you accept into your socials. You all are getting into the corporate world. People will search. There will be peers when it comes to promotions. They'll download your pictures. They download your lifestyle. They download your stories, screenshot your stories and send it to people. Like the boss saying, boss, this is what she does during the weekend. This is what he's up to when whole weekend he's out there. Right? Match so leave gun. They'll do it because they want that promotion. So believe me, it's a cutthroat organization out there. So make sure you select your followers clean. I had a friend who did a wonderful way of getting out of her followers. She used to take off all the people with the request is not nice, so you accept it. After about 3-4 months, she removes the people she doesn't want. And you know what she says? I really can't do that now with technology, but she says, I don't know when something has gone wrong with my account and so many people are calling me and saying they have got deleted. She has deleted them, right? So I do that sometimes too because it's tough to keep them going because you don't know if you're posting anything. You have to keep your socials private, right? So, but on the other hand, LinkedIn is something you can really, really talk about your achievements. Anything you do. University projects, don't say that I have a daughter of 21. She says, I have nothing to post on LinkedIn. No, she does, right? You do projects. You teach children. Now she's in Japan. So whatever you do, whatever organizing little events that you do at uni, put them up. Right? I wish there was a lovely profile of another young undergraduate. He's in California University. He does comparing also on the side. My God, you should see his LinkedIn profile. I was stunned. Absolutely everything is there. So when does he do a comparing part? He puts that in. But not about how fun it was, but how what they were talking about, why they had to do that. So that's something as a HR person I will say, my God, this guy is really good. He handles events, so he's getting on with people. He knows how to deal in a team and get things done. So this is the guy we need for the organization. So that is important. Build your personal profile and then of course practicing. Those days of course interview, we used to download thousands and thousands of documents, understand all the questions, memorize the answers and go. Not anymore. Why? ChatGPT. ChatGPT is good, very good for work, but even for the resumes, ChatGPT wouldn't take you through the ATS. So ChatGPT is something I would say work with your documents, right? Do your own thing, feed it to ChatGPT, let it refine it, right? But practicing, you have things that of course pay, but this is simply this is a free version. This is on Google, it's called Interview Warm-Up. So you have a lots of stuff here if you see. What field you want to practice. The fields are a little limited, maybe because it's free, right? But you can actually I pick project management just for the sake of it. So when you do that, it actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually gives you an answer. So you can talk to it, type, or you can type it, and then it will tell you, it will highlight the most job-related terms you used in your answer. So project management, what did you use as a job-related term which is important to an interviewer, right? And then it will also say most used words. If you say so all that they will highlight and say, okay, you're doing this, right? And then also they'll give you talking points. What you missed when you are asked, for example, you ask why you chose project management, they will give you things that you should ideally include into your answer. So you can keep practicing over and over again, and it's free. That's the most important thing, right? So as you can see, they will give you these terms are relevant to project management, and then you can see all the terms that you need to use. So keep doing this, and this is also another one. And then if you answer saying, why did you choose, why do you think stakeholder management is easy, and you say, oh, because I did some university projects or whatever. Next question they ask, can you tell us what are the successful things you did on that project? So AI is good enough to pick up your answer and then generate the second question. So it's almost like you're having someone and you're practicing one-on-one. So do this. It's very, very important for you. This is something on software engineering. I'm not a software engineer, so I know that, but if you guys are on that, this is another thing that you guys can do. And as you can see, very important, Google interview, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, they are looking at different questions as well. They may be paid, but it's still worth it if that's where you're looking at, right? So these are things that you can find on the net. Now, of course, comes to the point that all AIs and everything is fine. Why is AI here? Why is technology here? To help people task efficiently, not to be lazy, right? You can do anything with AI. You can get the best resume. You can go through the ATAs. You can get selected. You can do your practices, everything, right? You can even do the psychometric test. Like I said, you can do ChatGPT and say, answer this and tell me what the best answer is, and you will ace it. But are going to face an interview, and when you face an interview, right, you have to bring that human element into the table. You can't go there and talk all sorts of things and people are going to say, මෙයා මේ chat GPT දාලාද කොහෙද මේ resume එක හදලා තියෙන්නේ, මෙයාගේ කිසිම දෙයක් දන්නේ නැහැ, මේ පේන්නද කතා කරන විදිය, right? So interestingly, the other day I was talking to my cousin and she was talking about getting a country manager for one of the accounting firms, and this lady has used some AI tool and Google, some AI tool, and got herself well prepared for the interview. And they said they were amazed, she was South African, amazed by the way she spoke. Every question she had an answer and the perfect answer. But at one point, they realized there was something that she was talking which was done internally, right? Because there were press releases. So through the press releases, that tool has picked up and told you what to do. So then they were like, okay, how is it that her common answer, she never worked for this accounting firm, no? It's not accounting, it's specific to this firm that she was replying. See his LinkedIn profile, I was done. Absolutely everything is there. So does he go comparing fun? He puts that. But not about how funny it was, but how we know what they were talking about, why they had to do that. So that's something as an HR person I will say, my God, this guy is really good. But he handles events, so he's getting on with people. He knows how to deal in a team and get things done. This is the guy we need for the organization. So that is important. Build your personal profile, and then of course practice. Those days, of course, interview, we download thousands and thousands of documents, understand all the questions, memorize the answers and go. Not anymore. But ChatGPT. ChatGPT is good, very good for work, but even for the resumes, ChatGPT wouldn't take you through the ATs. So ChatGPT is something I would say work with your documents. Right? Do your own thing, feed it to ChatGPT, let it refine. Right? But practicing, you have things that of course pay, but this is a free version. This is on Google. It's called Interview Warm-Up. So you have a lots of stuff here. If you see what field you want to practice, the fields are a little limited, maybe because it's free, right? But you can actually pick project management just for the sake of it. So when you do that, it actually, I don't know if you can see, but it actually gives you an answer. So you can talk to it, type, or you can type it, and then it will tell you to highlight the most job-related terms you used in your answer. So project management, what did you use as a job-related term which is important to an interviewer, right? And then it will also say most used words. If you say and so all that they will highlight and say, okay, you're doing this, right? And then also they'll give you talking points, what you missed when you are asked, for example, if you ask why you chose project management, they will give you things that you should ideally include in your answer. So you can keep practicing over and over again, and it's free. That's the most important thing, right? So as you can see, they will give you these terms are relevant to project management, and then you can see all the terms that you need to use. So keep doing this, and this is also another one. And then if you answer saying, why did you choose, why do you think stakeholder management is easy, and you say, oh, because I did some university projects or whatever. Next question they ask, can you tell us what are the successful things you did on that project? So AI is good enough to pick up your answer and then generate the second question. So it's almost like you having someone and you're practicing one-on-one. So do this. It's very, very important for you. This is something on software engineering. I'm not a software engineer, so I wouldn't know that. But if you guys are on that, this is another thing that you guys can do. And as you can see, very important, Google interview, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. They are looking at different questions as well. They may be paid, but it's still worth it if that's where you're looking at, right? So these are things that you can find on the net. Now, of course, comes to the point that all AI is and everything is fine. Why is AI here? Why is technology here? To help people. Task efficient. Not to be lazy, right? You can do anything with AI. You can get the best resume. You can go through the ATS. You can get selected. You can do your practicals, everything. Right? You can even do the psychometric test. Like I said, you can do ChatGPT and say, answer this and tell me what the best answer is, and you will ace it. But you are going to face an interview. And when you face an interview, right, you have to bring that human element into the table. You can't go there and talk all sorts of things and people are going to say, ChatGPT right? So interestingly, the other day I was talking to my cousin and she was talking about getting a country manager for one of the accounting firms, and this lady has used some AI tool and Google, some AI tool and got herself well prepared for the interview. And they said they were amazed, and she was South African, amazed by the way she spoke. Every question she had an answer and the perfect answer. But at one point, they realized there was something that she was talking which was done internally, right? Because there were press releases. So through the press releases, obviously that tool has picked up and told you what to do. So then they were like, okay, how is it that her common answer, she never worked for this accounting firm? It's not accounting, it's specific to this firm that she was replying. And then they had shut down and they had said, okay, fine, we don't. Then on that grounds, they took a step back and said, no, don't take her, right? But internally, I think locally they had a discussion and then they threw one question out to her, which was not the norm, and she couldn't answer. She just could not answer because that was not a part of that tool. I think it was something like, what would you do on if you want to run something like this, what would you do? They had, I think the internal discussion was she's too good to be true, throw her a curveball, and they did. She couldn't answer. And then so that's what I'm telling you. You can do whatever you want with AI and technology and tools. Make sure what you're putting out is exactly who you are. This is what I tell all the young professionals who are getting in. ChatGPT is really good. ChatGPT makes mistakes, right? You write your thing, feed it to ChatGPT and say, now you professionalize it. That's a different story. That's your flavor that you're bringing in, right? And ChatGPT is very clever. After a couple of weeks, he knows how to say exactly how you are. But then still, either if you don't have time, when you get it out, read it and edit it. Make it your thing. Because the moment you make it your thing and you get there and you have to face and talk to somebody, you can say, yeah, this is how it is. Because my daughter says now in Japan, they are permitted to use ChatGPT for assignments. But when they do, how do they know it's not plagiarism? Is that they call and ask, how do you do this? So they can say that use ChatGPT, but then you must know how it came through. So she says, I did this, I found this, I used this kind of references. And also ChatGPT lies. Okay, so when you tell them to write a thesis, he will write and he will give you references. Boru references then. A references check karama, right? Now you don't know, no, you're nice to go and copy paste that and send it on, and then the university fellows double check it, you get caught. So what actually what a lot of the university students are doing today is they find the references themselves on Google and whatever. Right? So you write it, make a professional plan, make a 3,000 words, 5,000 words, make it professional, look at my profile, see how I write, do it. But references, you say don't touch the references, those are the ones that has to go. Use these and make my report. Then you're through. Anik Patragana, because he likes. Right? He or she or whatever, right? So that's how it goes. So remember, ace the interview, bring it in, be normal, be yourself, you are getting your job. You can't lie, you can't be an AI tool, you're not AI. Right? So bring your flavor in. A lot of people want to see who you are when you come in for a job interview. Then, social media, very important tool. Please take a moment to read this. The language is extremely colorful. She was a brilliant student. NASA actually at that year lost a very good potential person to join it. Naomi, her name was. This was in 2018. We don't know what happened to her at the moment because she's not on socials anymore. So she got all excited, she wrote on Twitter saying I've been accepted, blah blah blah. Somebody said, of course because of the word, he said language. She went completely into profanity and told him off, the old looking fellow, no, right? Then he says, I'm in the National Space Council that oversees NASA. The point is, he never told anything about her. What happened is, her friends retweeted this. If you see, there are 129 retweets. They retweeted it and NASA picked it up. You must understand dialogue here, right? Every time you mention the word dialogue, not a hashtag, mention the word dialogue picks it up. I was there for 20 years. We pick it up. We know that you all have spoken about dialogue. We correct it. Right? So, if dialogue in Sri Lanka can do that, this is way before all these AI tools and all that is there, NASA has to be way ahead of us. Right? They picked up and they called next day and said, sorry, it's cancelled. Now, the point is this. I mean, this girl had replied to him and said, I'm sorry and all that, and then he was feeling so sad because he said, he's the one who said, she was absolutely brilliant. She was a brilliant academic. So he felt so bad that he tried to find her some more jobs, but he couldn't. Right? And then we don't know what happened to her because she's not on Twitter. So people are actually Googling her to see whether she's found a job or whatever, or maybe she's just going underground. But what happened was, NASA lost in 2018 and Naomi. I agree. But do you think NASA lost forever? No. 2019, there would have been another Naomi. 2020, there would have been another Naomi, or a better Naomi maybe. We don't know. Every year there are people coming out. Every year someone is going, they're raising the benchmark, right? So for NASA, it doesn't matter. It's just 1 year, one intern, so be it. They don't need a person who talks like this. They don't need people going out there and talking. NASA, the moment you're selected as an intern, might be 3 months, might be 6 months, maybe 9 months, you are a company ambassador of that company. You cannot, your behaviors, everything, whatever you talk, whatever you post, becomes a reflection of that company. And the company has all right to tell you, I'm sorry, because of your socials, we have to let you go. So remember this when you're managing all that. So always I tell people, dance like no one is watching, but text, email, call, because you can record calls today, right? Like it will be read in court someday. Remember this quote and you won't go wrong in this highly digitized version. And of course, I always tell people, human brain and AI, like you very correctly said, AI is here to help us. AI is not here to do our work. If you say, oh, AI is there, let me just sleep and watch Netflix another 2 hours because AI will do my job and set it off, that's not where we're going. Right? Use AI to do the routine tasks, to do the non-productive, non-value-adding tasks. Keep yourself going, keep yourself growing by continuing to review and do your own jobs. Because at the end of the day, you, the human element, human brain cannot be matched by AI. Maybe we can come close to it, but you have to go as a person. You're not going to be doing this virtually, or you're not going to have a deep fake doing your job somewhere. That does not work, right? So always remember that. And I always say, AI will get the ball rolling, but it's up to you to score the goal. You can do whatever, you can have the best resume, but you have to ace that interview. That's it's very, very important. But use AI because we are going to have see so much more in the future. It's worth it. Use it wisely. Don't let your human brain die. Because we are far superior, though we are very lazy. We are far superior because we are the ones who got AI, you know. How did AI come? It's not like got out of some cloud or something like that. No. We brought that in and we are developing it. So there's something up here in us which we don't use. So please do that. Use it to your betterment, but make sure you ace the game as a human. Thank you very much. Any questions? You can reach me on my LinkedIn if you want and get any questions.
Just show can you just show some of the AI tools that you used?
The tools that I use, yeah. This is actually the software one for the interviews, right? This is based on interview warm-up on Google, which is it's free as well. Then this is the resume part of it. So there's two, the resume maker AI and the enhanced CV are the best they say so far, right? And these are the 5 that the speaker spoke about. I didn't have much time to see on our resume. Teal HQ is something that will give you jobs as well. It sort of makes your skills better at jobs. It's not really a resume. It is, but it's more specific to getting your skills aligned to a job opening. But this one and this one is just basically give your resume, get it done, right? One more thing I actually forgot was there's something called resume worder, right? You can Google that. Resume worder is something you can apply for your LinkedIn profile. When you apply that, it tells you, it goes through your entire LinkedIn profile. I think I have this here. And it tells you where it's missing of the components. You should do this, you should do that. So of course, I didn't pay, right? Because I thought what's the point? So, right? But if you pay and if you take it, it will actually show you how to enhance your LinkedIn profile. So that's very, very important for people who are starting out or getting themselves to another job, because LinkedIn profile really goes a very, very long way, right? So that's another one, resume version. Not sure whether it's okay. So in this, there's something called Grammarly. Grammarly, that is where you check on the grammar part of it. And this is of course not here. So, and this is something called Pymetrics. It's an organization that runs Pymetrics, Pymetrics. It's a psychometric company who has this thing. It's a little expensive, but if you are interested in doing a sort of identifying your personality through games, I think it's a fantastic thing. I was also interested in doing my own thing, but I thought, for fun, right? But since it's games and it's fun to do, so it's 12 games and you can actually do this. So if you pay it, you can actually get this done. That's a paid version. There are psychometric tests online. Some of them which is free, I feel is not wow. They'll give you something, but it won't give you good or 360 degree view. So something like this would be good. That's about it, I think, what I told you guys. Yes. Yes, that's it. Yes. So the filler words is where when you do that interview warm up on that Google, they will tell you. You start using filler words in your answers. So ideally without typing it, because when you type you don't use filler words. If you speak, right, there's an option for speaking. When you speak, they type exactly what you said. So then when you use these filler words, they will say, too many words that being used, these are the words they highlight. They underline and highlight saying you're using the same words. So filler words can be caught from that and they tell you what to write. So you can keep practicing so that you are conscious, okay, I'm using a filler word which I shouldn't be using. So then over and over again, right? See, all this is for you to get into a corporate world first time round interview, I would say. Right? Or if you've been in an organization for a good 5 to 10 years, you've lost the touch of interviews. Then it's like a brand new interview again. Then you can think, oh my gosh, I have to go face an interview. Then you really, really need to get this practice going. Because today's world, different ways of people are quite different in their ways of interviewing. Right? So do that. Filler was very good question because a lot of people say it and then you don't even know you're saying it. But people who are listening to you is like, okay, he's not very confident in his answer. So confidence comes through many interview. With AI, I would say interview warm-ups and things like that. Interview warm-up is a free tool, but there are enough and more paid tools which can give you a better result for you as well. If the job is worth it, if you need to get that job and you already got yourself the first interview and maybe it's the second interview or the final interview, I think you can invest on it. And if you're already working somewhere and you have your money, please invest on the best. Go through the reviews, invest on these tools because it makes your life far better. Anything else? Okay, so then I guess we can wrap it up. Thank you.